let us check 1 2. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah. Hey. All right. Greetings, salutations. Let's get set up here. Well, said the grasshopper. We got a bunch of pictures here. Well, hello. Let's see who's on. I'm new to technology, like a baby sometimes. But all right, let's. Zoom. Okay. All right. Oh. Well, I see a couple people watching. Please say hi if you're not hi. Let's see. Just trying to get some background production going here, folks. Flavor Flav. Yeah, you're watching a confused 58-year-old man working out some technology here. I think I've got it all. Okay. Delicious food. Well, yeah, the show is live. Let me make sure YouTube. Oh, look at that food, huh? A little premature, but you know, you might as well arrive at the food. Oh, look at that. Fries and some kind of jerk mushroom wrap and peas and rice. Christopher Lowry, how are you, my friend? Hey, maybe you can help me. The first person always does. Am I echoing or is it okay? It just sounds all right. Yeah. Because I hear a slight echo, but that might be on my end. All right. Yeah, trying to get some pictures hooked up, and I just did inadvertently. Here we go. Christopher, how are you? What did you have for lunch, if anything, in the plant-based world? I know you eat mostly plant-based. Let's see if I always, and I say this every week, I always got to make sure that my YouTube people are you know, not getting left in the cold. because we have some folks who only check in there. Rock and roll. I mean, so we're going to talk about food today. I've got some special guests. I hope it's plural, but amazing Caribbean, Jamaican, a little bit of Haitian food called the VEGAN YAAD, which is in Fort Lauderdale. The VEGAN YAAD. They're in Fort Lauderdale and at a farm market. And they are been there relatively recently. It's just I'll find out a little bit. They're going to be on the show in about 20 minutes to tell their story. We're going to talk about their history a little bit before that. Okay, cool. No one asking questions on YouTube. Well, okay. Well, Christopher, I'm on the sun, as you can see today. It's hot here, man. I tell you, wow. I've also got captions I see on YouTube. So that's pretty interesting. So Christopher, let's see. You had, oh, you do hear an echo. Yeah, I'm going to try to get rid of that. You had liquid B12, huh? Okay, that's all you had today. Let's turn some stuff off. Ba, 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 ba. Check. 1 2. 1 2. Hey, you'd think I'd be better at this, but you know, I'm not even excuses, but well, it's kind of an excuse, but also just kind of a background reason. I do so many different things, performances, sometimes acoustic with some microphones, sometimes check 1. That's better. Sometimes electronic music, interviews, whatever. So I have all these different audio setups that I do. A lot of them. And most of them I got pretty lined up in my head. But ever so often, cases like today, I end up hearing and producing crazy amounts of echo for myself. So it's disorienting. It's weird. Hey, 1 2 1 2 1 1. Yeah. 1 2. Yeah, 1 2. There we are. Okay, that's better. I think I know what was going on there. Let me kill the audio on this. Probably better, right? Plus I'm swimming in a little reverb now. Better now. Okay. Wow. Sometimes I wonder. Let's see about audio. Check. Interesting. The microphone cancellation on the phone. It's very good, actually. Hello. Check. Very good. I mean, kind of, it does audio rejection. Unless you're, speaking into it. That's pretty impressive. These phones are getting good. They've been good, but that's an old phone, actually. Yeah, okay, good. I think we got some volume and sounds double track now. Oh man, I'm really screwing up today. How about now? I'm gonna count to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that okay? Horrible. I know I tested this before, and I swear it worked. I wouldn't get on the air without testing. I apologize, folks. B-O, Bo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is it natural now? Bum, 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 bum. Okay, it's fine. I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Are you saying no? It's no good, or no? It's not echoing. It's good. Okay, great. Thank you. Well, cool. Again, now I'll get back to what I thought I had nailed down. So the Vegan Yaad, really cool people that I met. We were working a cruise actually in February, and it was the classic rock cruise, like a classic rock cruise. Everyone knows we work in the music industry, and it's a classic rock cruise. And so it left out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Yeah, reverb is good. I want the reverb on. Yep. I can back that off a little. Hey, and so we're in Fort Lauderdale the night before the flight, the night before the cruise began, and let's get some food, and kind of. What's awesome, anywhere on planet Earth these days. Anywhere on planet Earth. I really love it. I've not been to the continent of my closest ancestors, Africa. Really major bucket list sort of thing to go there, right? I mean, really for anyone who loves to travel, it should be on your list, right? It's such important historical, places to see there. But not been there yet, and I like to say yet. And I've not been to Antarctica, but been to all the other continents. And the one big country I've not been to is China. Not been there. Flew over it and saw the Great Wall and stuff like that. So that's the closest. But been all around. I'm not going to sit here and list the places. Many of you that know me know that's what I do: travel for music and work. But my point is that for many years now, wherever you are, you just open your phone and either open one of these apps, which I've had various ones, or just Google. And there's vegan food, vegetarian food, plus really anything, Thai food, Italian food, whatever specific thing you want. But for plant-based, for vegetarians, vegans, macrobiotics, pescatarians, flexitarians, anyone under that umbrella, that's if you're watching this show, then you're somewhere under that umbrella. Which includes even just curious about plant-based. But what's cool is you can just Google and hit Around Me or one of these things. And any phone, any device knows where you are, right, with GPS. And I'm just blown away that everywhere you go, and places that maybe when I was younger, I might have thought this for a minute, but places that some people don't think there'd be vegetarian food, like Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, or Dusseldorf, Germany, or Berlin, Germany, or anything like that. These places that are, Austin, Texas, the barbecue, one of the barbecue capitals. Birmingham, Alabama, where else were we in Alabama? We were deep in Alabama. Boom. Awesome natural food place with all kinds of vegan food. So it's always been worldwide. You go back thousands of years. People were eating plant-based diets, and doing it on purpose, especially the Buddhists, Hindus, ancient Greeks, ancient Egyptians, ancient Ethiopians, many Islamic people all throughout Africa, all throughout the continent, and in parts of Europe. Some Christians, a smaller sect, because unfortunately Christianity doesn't push this angle as much. The compassion applying to animals as much as Hinduism and Buddhism. But you have all this around planet Earth, people saying yes to plant-based food for millennia. So I love that when you travel around, you see the historic effects of that. So I love that. That said, one of the things we're going to talk about today is food from a part of the world that I've spent a lot of time in, and a part of the world I was born. I was born in South America, and British Guyana at the time, which became Guyana soon after, and grew up in Chicago. Went there as a baby, but went back to Guyana, and even when I wasn't there, my first 5 years, my parents, being Caribbean people, South American people, tropically born people, made and ensured that I fell in love with the most amazing food, curry and roti and curried. And I ate meat at that point. Of course, I ate meat till I was 18, 19, somewhere in the middle there. But at that time, curried chicken and whatever. I eat roasted fish with Caribbean style spicing, things like that. You name it. Garlic pork. I ate pork for 18 years. Christmas time, there's a delicious thing called garlic pork. Wow, you couldn't wait every year. And you know what? I learned this later because we've done animal-free versions, my sister and I and other family members. It's the garlic. It's the vinegar. Because you take pork and all this garlic and vinegar and stuff, and you basically pickle this pork for a week before Christmas. And so it's vinegary and tangy and garlicky. You put a pound of garlic. You get a big glass or other type of container, and chopped up pork, vinegar, herbs, spices, thyme, paprika, pimento, and salt, pepper, all kinds of things you would spice anything with, chili, peppers. But garlic leads the way. And so anyway, my point is I ate all these amazing dishes growing up. And the amazing thing about the Caribbean is it's a clash of cultures. It starts with as many places around the earth. It starts with as far back as we can trace indigenous people. So you have the Arawaks, and you have I'm forgetting the name of the folks that are on Boricua, Puerto Rico. I used to know the name of the indigenous folks. But all those islands, when the murdering rapist Columbus arrived, there were people there, right? And someone just got offended. Oh, I'm sorry. That's literally true. They murdered, they raped, and they took over these islands and gave them new names. Hispaniola, this, that. But those folks, as we know from studying it, they hunted, they fished, they did all this stuff. But they always had this incredible basis of plant-based food that we often forget about. They use everything. So again, I'm not going to say they were vegans, but heavily so, more than the average kind of Westerner today, because they use the coconuts and the avocados and all the things that we know of now as tropical fruits. And then they also harvested from the sea. They harvested from the rivers, rivers and lakes, if they're island, if they were going beyond sea fishing and stuff like that. And racing animals, and there's some interesting stuff too about when cows got to some of these countries, and the goats and things like that, because a lot of those animals were brought by Europeans. Horses, for instance, were brought around by Europeans. So there's all kinds of interesting stuff. But my point there is that, wow, all the things that that are exotic, kind of tropical fruits or something of today, are in the history, the food, the culture of Caribbean islands, South America, tropical parts of the world, of course. So when we're looking at that today, again, by this restaurant, these folks from Jamaica and Haiti that run it. Let's see. Gonna get them on the show just in a little bit. Okay, go back to some comments. Yeah, Jeffrey Moser, how are you? Thanks for being here. It's Taino, yeah, Taino. Michael Bernier, hi my friend. I do have some slapback. Let me get rid of it. I don't know. It makes it feel like it's radio. It should be gone now. Is my voice clean? I'm gonna count to 3. 1, 2, 3. I heard it there too, but am I hearing? 1. Oh yeah, I have a phone that's on, so I'm hearing that. 1, 2, 3. Should be just dry. So good to see you. Good to see everyone that's stopping by. And there's a few people there that have not said hi. Joachim, how are you, my friend? Good to see you, man. Looking forward to seeing you in the summer. Okay, so you guys might be hearing my phone. Let me try to turn my phone audio off. Because, there we go, mute. And so it's not picking up anything, and the volume's down. All right. Hey. Man, that's pissing me off. How do you kill the audio on your Zoom meeting? Disconnect audio. Nice, thank you. You Zoom. Oh, Zoom makes me crazy. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, you guys were hearing the tiniest audio of my phone, which maybe because it's a Zoom meeting, when you turn the volume all the way off, it still goes. Looking forward to seeing you, my friend, this summer. I'm saying hi to my dear buddy Joachim Rushdahl. I'm probably saying that wrong, right, Joachim? But he's our truck driver on tour in Europe. Going back over there with Pat Metheny this summer, and it's gonna be cool. Just gonna be cool. Great time to be in Europe. It's always a great time to be in Europe, but except like 42 to 45. That was a little rough, but yeah, summer really good, and the audiences are awesome. So look forward to seeing you, and maybe seeing that truck go up on a scissors lift again, right? My cousin Brucey, that's good. All right. So we got the Taino. Christopher says China, LOL. Was that, are you joking about 45? Oh wow, I pronounced it properly. That's great. All right, let's gonna want to put some pictures on this device, so let's do that. Well, I'm gonna pick the lorry up with, are those some birds that you see across the way? There's birds. So before these folks sign in, let's have some fun looking at their website and sharing it with y'all. I'm gonna share this loop. This loop, geez, Freudian slip, because all I'm thinking about is looping. I'm gonna share this link. But let's enjoy how delicious the food looks. So it's called the VEGAN YAAD Kitchen, and we'll have Kirk tell us a bit about that name. But I'll tell you real quick. Yaad is let's see. folks, I'm just getting an update from them. The folks from this restaurant, they had a car accident. Seeing if they're okay. This was last night. They had a car accident. So, all right. Well, I'm alarmed to hear that. These are just new friends of mine. I don't know them well, but wonderful people. But oh man. Okay, this is live, so we'll see what happens there. Wow. Um, but yeah, I hope they're okay. Well, while I'm waiting for that update, let's enjoy this amazing website that they have. And all I can, I mean, I don't have to say much. I mean, come on. If you like savory food, if you like spicy food, holy shit, then this would be a place for you. Also, when I have guests on, when I highlight restaurants and stuff, I'm hoping it inspires people to say, "Man, I could try that. I can." It might not be as good, but you're gonna get some ideas. So look at that. I think we had that one, the Jerk King burrito. So it's, I like when there's cool fusion ideas because that's what Planet Earth is about. Different cultures learning about each other, taking little parts and pieces. I love that, and I love that we're just not 100% sure sometimes, because whether it's because of colonialism or invaders or wars or victors staying where they want a war, or people being moved from one part of the world to another. Let's get real. Humans, the results are great sometimes, but sometimes it wasn't a cool way that it happened. But whatever way it happened, cultures clash and things get mixed up, and it's a beautiful thing. So, and sometimes it's people in the modern age just saying, you know what, I like a little of this, I like a little of that. And so on the left, you got a burrito. So like, a Mexican idea, although wrapping food in a flour, flat baked object is kind of universal. But the burrito, but then they took it and made it Jamaican. Look at that. Some Jamaican beans and rice, some avocado, some jerk, I think mushrooms in there. On the right, palm fritters, because you can, heart to palm, you can do some amazing stuff with. Here's just some reviews. Some people just saying, oh, I like that middle one. It was almost borderline too spicy for me. Psh, you're talking my language, because if something's almost too spicy for someone, I need to try it. I keep Scotch bonnet pepper sauce to house to add, and I did not need to. So that's cool. So that's somebody who loves spice, but shit was even too spicy. Danielle says she had the oxtail, quote unquote, bone. It was a carrot. How cute. I love this because I try to stay away from too much processed vegan food. Indicated it was freshly grounded plants. That's great. And we talk about this on this show all the time. That line of how cool it is to have the availability of so many foods, but being careful about processing and over packaging and all these kind of issues. So that's some a quick look at their splash page. Let's take a look at the menu. And by the way, folks, this is in Fort Lauderdale area. I understand they do some stuff around Miami. They do stuff around kind of that southeast Florida area, which is crazy right now for plant-based food, for vegetarian food, vegan food, macrobiotic food, juice bars, shakes, Mediterranean diet, Middle Eastern food that's vegetarian. I'm not kidding. We go to Miami from time to time, and every time blown away at the rapid expansion. I can't remember if he's still the mayor, but there was a mayor of Miami not long ago that was vegetarian, and so there'd be some cool social media stuff. So you have the Yaad sides, and by the way, Yaad is like, I'm gonna, when I have them explain this. Hopefully these folks are okay. They were, yeah. Hopefully they're okay. But that's a Jamaican slang. Yaad is yard, and the kind of Jamaican slang, like Jamaica is your yard, right? It's your local. It's where you are. You're in your yard, right? Staying in your yard, it's the yard, and they have some slogans based around, no way better than yard,
You know, that's their yaad. So that's where that comes from. I love that they went all the way with some Jamaican slang. So it's the vegan yaad. So they got the yaad sides, and those yaad sides, not to be confused with a yacht site, is they got plantain fries. Had those. Those were good. Pretty self-explanatory. Fries, except made of platanos, plantains. And vegan jerk elotes. I forget what that was, but it was corn, right? Corn with some spices. Vegan scotchy balls. I don't know what those are, but anything that's got like 3 whole habaneros on it, I'm in. That's the thing too about Caribbean food, South American food. You all heard me talk a lot about the amazing food experience I had in uh South America, and I spoke about it a bunch of times. It was amazing, and that was a theme throughout a lot of the food I had in Argentina, Brazil, Chile, Peru, Uruguay on my recent trip on tour. I was working on tour, and from the hotels in the morning to the catering at the gig to the 2 or 3 times I was able to go somewhere and eat out, one of the themes is savory, spicy, just delicious use of plant-based. As anyone who's seen this show knows, my passion is to really kick the door open for people who think this food, who think eating meatless is A, difficult or impossible, B, and the difficult is quite subjective, of course. I mean, yes, some people find being meat eaters difficult, so we can address that later. But the people who think it's celery sticks and hummus, or it's, you know, steamed tofu with a bit of cabbage. I literally still meet people in 2023 who have this myopic ancient view of what vegetarian food is. So it's always my goal to point out from around the world, Brazilian food, in this case, Jamaican food, you know, English food, Japanese food, Polish food, you know, tribal food, Cherokee, there's Cherokee plant-based dishes, there's Iroquois plant-based dishes. All of the tribes in this continent had a rich amount of, well, corn's the one everyone thinks about, or the 3 sisters, you know, but corn and squash and beans, but also all these amazing root vegetables. So wherever you go, if you just do a little digging, you have these rich and delicious foods. I can't stop looking at this, folks. That looks so damn good and spicy. Let's see what it is. Chickpeas, portobello mushroom, pink oyster mushroom with a red Scotch bonnet pepper. Wow, come on. How good is that going to be? So it's kind of a Jamaican falafel with mushrooms in a way. So that's pretty cool. I think they were out of it. That's true. We tried to get that. They were out of it. There's the platanos fries, the plantain fries. Pretty self-explanatory. Green plantains cut up like a French fry. Love it. How about the jerk chick rolls? They are very self-explanatory too. Jerk is a spice combination, and what's beautiful about it, just like any other country where there's a signature kind of a thing, as you go around Jamaica, you know, it's generally all within the same ballpark, but you have different people make it different types of levels of spicy, or a little bit more of this, a little bit more of that, but it's a wonderful kind of a spice rub that typically you get with chicken or pork. Those are the 2 big overall most popular things. And chicken jerk pork might be the most popular Jamaican thing, you know, like fast food. But regardless, the common thing is the spices. And again, I have an argument that with a lot of the foods that people love that are flesh foods, it's the plants that they love, right? I mean, again, when you think about jerk chicken, what makes it incredible? Sure, if you like chicken and it's good, fresh, juicy chicken or whatever, you're enjoying that. You're enjoying the texture, the taste. We can be scientifically objective about this. It's a protein source, there's all these things. But I always ask, then why not just kill the chicken and eat the flesh right away, right off the chicken? Because it's friggin' gross. You'd vomit. Which is not true about a mango or a tomato you pulled off a vine, or bananas you pull off of a banana, banana herb. Actually, it's not a tree. But you get the point. The chicken is delicious because you marinated it in plants. Vinegar, thyme, pimento, allspice, paprika, salt, red pepper, ginger, on and on and on. We make flesh taste good with plants. Now, of course, there are exceptions. Of course, there's things like sashimi, right? Which is just the raw fish, or octopus or eel or things like that. Of course, there's exceptions. I'm not insane. Well, maybe I am, but the other thing is things like steak tartare, right? And there's some other exquisite. I think there's some people that eat raw horse and stuff like that. So there's exceptions, but I think you know what I'm saying. By and large, the overwhelming 90-some percentile of human consumption of animals usually involves making it taste good by cooking it with carrots and ginger and kale and a bunch of dried spices. So once you move that same spice profile over to vegetables, you can get some amazing stuff going on. So they have these wraps with carrots, corn, cabbage, vegan cheese, and the signature jerk sauce. So, folks, and if you like spicy food, but you've never had jerk stuff, jerk chicken, jerk anything, and going to Jamaica in the 80s, I when I first went vegetarian, there was already available things like jerk ackee and jerk plantains and jerk squash and sweet potato. So people were already putting the jerk vibe on plant-based stuff, Let's see. I see some comments. I'm going to respond there. Sorry, folks. There's been my guests may not make it. I'm checking out how they went. They're okay, but they were banged up a little bit in an accident, and I'm just trying to see if they're okay to be on the show. Where's my water? Okay, great. Okay, let me come back to some comments. I see a few people on YouTube. Scissor lift in Poland, yes. A nice surprise that was, right? Yeah, okay. It was a 45 joke. Okay, great. Moser says it is 5-6 times a year on always plant-based foods. 5-6 times. Where's that? Jamaica? Damn, son. 5-6 times a year. I'm jealous. Hook a brother up. Don't you need like a butler? Put a suit on me, bro. I'll come in and serve some wine and cheese to some rich people to get a nice boat ride. VEGAN YAAD. Been there many times. Very good, Bassam. That's a good point. That's because a lot of the pronunciation of these words in colonial countries is because of the colonials. Shit's got to get raw, man. I mean, don't get me started. This show will go off the rails, and we'll be talking about culture and politics and colonialism and imperialism in a minute, which I wish I cared more. But I should do a show that's just about that, because especially now as we get into all kinds of suppression of information and things like that. Let's get back to food. You know me, I could go off the rails in a second, and especially with Bassam here encouraging me. So, all right, let's find if my YouTube people, if anyone's commenting, because I sometimes forget. See, I always forget. Richie G, how are you, my friend? I love that there's folks that are like, nope, I'm not going on Facebook, and they go on my YouTube link. Good to see you, Richie. Guten Tag. Little German theme. It's making you hungry. Yeah, borderline spicy is just right. I know you love spicy food and Indian food, especially. And You sent this link to your vegan daughter. That's great. Oh, cool. She lives near Hollywood, Florida. That's perfect. She's right there. But I'm sure she'll be like, Dad, there's 100 places I go to. Yeah, that area is. I should Google it right now, although I'm not there, so it'll be a little. I could just Google, of course, Hollywood, Florida, and vegan, but pretty awesome. I'm hydrating because it's hot as hell here. I'm on the sun. Woo! I'm near the sun. I'm in an undisclosed location in my spaceship, and we're flying over the sun. But my doctor, the sun. Trying to save, right? Plastic bottles. I use them once in a while, but it's great to not have to use them. And it's just tap water. Our tap water is pretty good here, pretty good. And it's mountain, 2,000 feet above sea level. It's very good water up here in the temperate rainforest of the Appalachian Mountains, the Blue Mountains, Blue Ridge Mountains of Asheville. And the water's good. I mean, there's still chlorine and fluoride part of the year, I believe. But what are you gonna do? You're gonna buy spring water in plastic, and I do that sometimes. Todd Reynolds, wow, what a wonderful surprise! I picture you, bro, 24/7 in a rehearsal, in a sound check, in a lunch break because you're between the rehearsal and the sound check and the show. I'm kidding. Of course, I'm happy, and because I also picture you, just hanging out in New York City and soaking up part of your day before you do the show. Really great that you're out there slaying them on violin. But yes, culture, politics, and colonialism. That's the next show. Would you do that podcast with me? Yeah. All right. Filter. I'm not sure what that refers to, Christopher. What? Tell me what do you mean by that? Okay, so I'm gonna go back, and we're gonna look a little bit more at some of the cool. Oh, I see. Some of the amazing stuff at this place, at this the Vegan Yaad. Like I said, folks, I'm really apologetic. These folks were banged up in an accident, and while they're okay, it looks like if they can come on, it will be later in the show. But maybe we push them back. But that's okay. Thank you for being here. I apologize for anyone who specifically wanted to hear from these folks, and not my usual bullshit. But just happy that they're okay. I'm sure. Anyway, they're in the middle of stuff because it's post-accident. But let's go ahead and look at some mouth-watering food again. They also sell their own jerk sauce, which is so cool because that's where that's where the shit really gets good, because it's this nice little. I didn't get any because we were flying, and we were going on a ship. First of all, to do this cruise, and cruises are like ships. Or, I'm sorry, they are. Cruises are like plane flights where you have limitations. You can't carry on certain liquids and bottles, and can't bring liquor, and all this shit. They found my heroin. I mean, it was ridiculous. But and then we were flying back home, so these bottles are all way too big, 12 ounces, 18 ounces. So I was very upset. But if you can just squint there and see, some people would say, so many ingredients. I love when people say that. It's like, who cares if they're all great ingredients like this? Some things take a lot of nuance and have, and it's about micro notes, little pinch of a bunch of spices makes a beautiful umami, right? So yes, at first glance, wow, that's like more ingredients I've ever seen on a hot sauce. But look at that. It's all cool stuff, right? It starts with organic pineapple. So you can have a sweet and acidic thing happening. Butternut squash. Then there's organic pineapple juice, water, agave nectar, Thank you, the bats of the world, for pollinating the agave plant at night. Did you all know the agave is one of the night flowering plants, and that bats pollinate them, not bees or birds? So we thank the bats because we get agave nectar, and we get my beloved mezcal and tequila from agave. So we get 3 amazing things. 4 if you count the actual agave, physical pieces of agave itself. Anyway, there's also a bunch of other stuff. Yeah, I'm not going to read it all, of course. I think if you're good enough screen, you can read it. But in general, though, mustard and hot peppers and all the spices you would have in something savory. Vinegar, black pepper, scallions, stuff like that. Thyme, nutmeg. Always going to have that in some Jamaican stuff. So this is cool. And again, please check their site out and help them out. And if you're in the area of Jamaica, if you're in the area of Fort Lauderdale, we're gonna explore some of the how to find them. Now they have a head shop. Now what's that about? Because weed is legal in Florida. What a collision! How happy are Caribbean people in general? Because Caribbean people smoke some weed. Let's not, Puerto Ricans, Haitians, Jamaicans, Dominicans, Barbadians, Trinidadians, Guyanese, of course, Curaçaoans, all the people I've met, all of my tropical people, we smoke some weed. I don't anymore. I stopped about a decade ago, but I've smoked enough weed for a couple lifetimes. But anyway, this is their head shop, so they're just being cute. I didn't know if it was going to be edibles or something because it's legal there. But this is cool. It's their swag. Oh man, and it gets naughty. You have the you have that T-shirt, and the young lady's wearing, it says, "Tastes so good you swallow." Okay, getting a little spicy here, huh? And I love that, because the Caribbean people, we're gonna be the last to put up with the easily triggered, clean up your language, politically correct bullshit. Don't want to hear it. So spicy comments like that, joking around about swallowing, is a lost art in our miserable, easily triggered kind of climate we're in. So I applaud them for being a little rude there. So they have a cookbook, they got T-shirts, they got all kinds of stuff. Let me glance back at the menu while we're here, see what else. Some amazing stuff. And any of you who've been to Jamaica, tell me if I'm lying, man. This is what you see at any kind of food stand in Jamaica, but usually made with beef and chicken and stuff. Although you have lots and lots of vegetarian, vegan food anywhere in Jamaica, because they cook the plants. They cook the callaloo, which is the greens. They cook the ackee, which is an amazing fruit, essentially from a tree. It's a staple, and it cooks up like scrambled tofu. It kind of looks like tofu. They cook all manner of. I think there's 10 different potatoes, sweet potatoes, and things like that I've had while in Jamaica, and they love to roast. You see lots of like half 55-gallon drums cut in half and made into a barbecue. Very quick, common way to do it. You see that in the U.S. here in the South, but there's a lot of roasting, right? Because that's super easy. So a lot of root vegetables, a lot of things. So along with the meat in Jamaica, you get a lot of these options. But you can see they do a nice fusion thing. They've got jerk tacos. They got these palm fritters. They've got just straight up things like rice and beans. There's a spicy curry chickpea, a roasted pear salad. That's pretty interesting. Vegan chicken and waffle. So again, they have some stuff that is going to duplicate some of the flesh-based dishes that people are used to, but many, many things that are just plant-based. Baked avocado. Wow. I never baked an avocado. Anyone have that? A cooked avocado? That's some crazy shit. Had one of these. This was cool. I like bowls because you can get a nice combination of stuff. This was delicious, folks. And you could see some corn. Those are mushrooms on the top. Half of an avocado. Some delicious spiced up marinated. I think it was steamed and stuff because it was kind of soft, still chewy though. The cabbage, plantains, sweet ones on the bottom, and like I said, these spiced up mushrooms. And I think there was some rice at the bottom. Cashew sour cream. So we got some revolutionary stuff happening with what chefs are doing around the world with nut-based stuff, walnut-based this and that, and cashew-based this and that. What do they say about the palm fritters? So it's a golden saute. So it's kind of, okay, they're kind of going for the texture and the kind of umami and flavor profile of cod fritters, saltfish fritters. We replace the fish with heart of palm, but we keep all the delicious flavor. What's interesting about that too, again, as we talk about the history of food and how part of food in former colonies came from the colonials. Again, what I'm fascinated by is, and I met someone the other day who is like this, a friend of a friend. I know people who would be triggered by what I just said, because I said that colonialism existed and it was brutal, and there's people who are bugged about that. Can't we get over it? That was the past. That's what's so fucked up right now. And it's at the heart of this CRT nonsense. These people don't even want to talk about what went down. But here it is right in front of us. Are you guys tracking what I'm saying? Fish and chips coming from the UK, from the British Isles, around the countries where they brutally colonized. You have the good and the bad. The bad is very clear. It's over now. We're still healing. We're still unpacking. We still got a lot of restoration and retribution to happen, and it's slowly happening. A lot of colonialism still exists in the Caribbean. You better believe that the Bank of England and English investors and all that have a stronghold in all the former colonies. But here's the beautiful side. Human beings got to eat food a couple times a day. And food is one of those beautiful things that we have history and culture embedded in it. So here you have it. This is kind of a fish and chips thing that became codfish in some Caribbean islands. And now they've taken it one step further. They've removed the cruelty. I mean, you can get really philosophical here and talk about the embedded cruelty of the imperialism and the slavery. We have that in the United States with Black people that still eat chitlins. What the fuck? This is food that the enslavers gave you because it was the worst, horrible part of the pig. You tell me what's worse, the asshole and what's connected to it of the pig. I'll wait. What's worse? Yet you have Black people with a colonial mind. They're going to fight you to eat their chitlins, and knock you out of the way to eat. So a lot of stuff here, folks. Again, I'm exploring the positive, beautiful side of where we are today, that plant foods are blowing up. People are being more and more aware of animals, of the suffering and the pain. People are being more aware because of the environmental problems of the industrialized animal prison industrial complex. And people are realizing that the floods, the droughts, the Dust Bowl stuff that we've created in the American Midwest, we got to stop. We got to stop. We can't be using big chunks of America to grow soybeans to send to China, or wheat to send to other countries to feed animals or to feed them ourselves, and then monocrop that land till there's nothing you could do with it except put up another shopping mall. All for what? All for very little return. So again, what the hell is he talking about? Someone who just tuned in might be saying, I'm talking about the interconnectedness of how we're getting our food today for 8 billion people, the environmental costs, the health costs, and primarily the cost to animals, to beautiful sentient animals. And this is always a tough area for people. People who love their dog or dogs. People who love their cat or cats. People who own horses. I got friends who own horses, and they'll have right there next to the horse a pig sliced in half and being roasted. Well, I'm Cuban. It's part of my culture. It's fucked up. Because how are you loving that horse that costs you $10,000 and you treat that horse better than some of your family members? You're protecting and loving this beautiful animal because it's intelligent and loving and it responds to you every day. But the pig, you'll cut her throat. I'm just saying, it's stuff to think about. So again, I'm just meditating here on how happy I am that we're massively around the globe asking ourselves these questions when you really look at it. So, well, let's go back to some of your questions and let me see. Let's see. Again, I'm seeing my guests here who are having a rough time. But you know what? We're having fun, folks, and we're going to keep having fun. Let's see who's on YouTube. We got two or three people on YouTube. I want to make sure I'm not missing their comments. Okay, good. We're caught up there. Hello. So many dear friends and some strangers. It's so heartwarming to see between YouTube and here, maybe 20 people watching, which sounds like not a big number, but you know, the fact that 20 people are going to give a few minutes of their time, I really I'm filled with gratitude with that, because I'd be sitting here ranting with the camera off if you weren't here. So let's catch up there. Hope they're okay and not wrapped up like mummies. Right. That's the folks. Filter again. Was that a band or? Oh, I see. You filter the water. Yeah, you know. Thanks, bro. Send me a name of some filters you like. I've been researching. I see a few. I kind of on a budget right now, especially with a canceled tour. I just lost 5 weeks of touring, folks. I'm not crying today about that, but I was. But on a budget, but when I do have the money, I spend it where it counts, and we are looking to maybe filter the water. Laura Darty, my dear sister, how are you? Good to see you here. Laura, you know, I need a guest, a fill-in guest. Do you want to jump on the show? Let me know. Text me, and I'll jump you on the show. You could tell the folks what you've been doing on cooking and stuff. Agave is sweet and poisonous. I did not know that. Oh, okay. Christopher listened to a 2-day-old Zoom interview with Clapton. They mentioned JFK Jr. running president. JFK Jr.? Wait, is there another one? I thought the one died in the plane. There's another JFK? Did he have a couple kids? Did he have some kids that we don't know about? Like do you have a kid with what's her name? Marilyn Monroe. Happy birthday, Mr. President. Wow, she got raw. How about that shit, right? His wife sitting there, she didn't care. Messy and spicy. Yeah. Well, I don't know what you're talking about. Because I thought they had Carolyn, who's still alive, right? Is our wonderful Carolyn still alive? Carolyn Kennedy. What are you talking about, JFK Jr., bro? He's dead. Carolyn Kennedy is, oh, how about that? She's the U.S. ambassador to Australia. Good for you. Get the fuck out of here, right? She is 65 years old. 3 kids, married to Edwin Schlossberg, and the ambassador to Australia. Well played. Well played. All right. So I don't know what you're talking about, Christopher. JFK Jr. ran for president. Looked it up, and true. That's the part that's sticking in my throat. What's true? That JFK Jr. is running for president? Because you're scaring me, bro, if you believe that he was alive. As soon as you said that, I'm like, what are you talking about? Please tell me you didn't think JFK Jr. was running for president. But, you know, hate to say it, bro, but you've set the bar. You kind of look at all those crazy non-factual sites. But that's what makes it fun. I love being around you because it teaches me about that whole fantasy land of unsubstantiated nonsense. Anyway, Laura Darty, hey man, don't be offended, because thinking that JFK Jr. is never president is nonsense. Objectively speaking, there's no way to defend that. And plus, if you're watching an interview with Eric Clapton, the racist white nationalist who's really not that interesting on guitar, then that's a whole other thing. Anyway, Laura's never been to Jamaica, but Barbados has great plant-based vegan. Sure. Avocado. I got to try that. Ital. Yeah, that's the word for it. Ital. And there's that Jamaican place in Asbury Park, right next to the Saint. I'm sure you've had some food there. It's not vegan. The disparity between the rich and the poor was very apparent in Jamaica. You gain 10 pounds for being there. That's crazy. I could see it though. And then finally you say, okay, RFK Jr. Okay, we pulled that out of the fire because, but you know what I'm saying, right? You've sent me some links. You've sent me some videos that would lead me to believe that if someone told you JFK Jr. is alive, because that's one of their things, right? Wasn't he was going to show up in Dallas, and they all went there, these people, that the JFK Jr. was alive the whole time, and he was going to, that was really confusing, because you're like, wait, you MAGA right-wing GOP people, why are you excited that the kid of the arch liberal of the last 60 years in your weird cosmology, why are you happy he's coming back to run for, but what am I doing trying to make sense of this stuff? So thank you for clearing that up. RFK Jr., who, yeah, a lot to unpack there. But but let's get back to Jamaica for a second here, and then we'll look at some more food, and we'll pull this back to food. And I got a lot of other little food items we can look at real quick that was on my list. But the disparity between rich and poor is very apparent in Jamaica. Absolutely true. And this is where, I'm very worried at how prosperity around the world. I mean, I wake up in the morning worrying about this shit, distribution of wealth. Wow, in this country where we live, or I'm figuring out my taxes. I don't make much money, and they're going to take taxes from me. And I watch people that make 20 times what I'm making, and they're paying nothing. Wow. But that rich and poor disparity, the neoliberal thing that banks do, where we save and protect the banks, and we save and protect the golf courses and the hotels and the casinos and all the things that there's a racial disparity in a lot of countries, but not always. I'm not going to say that's completely a racial kind of a thing, but often is, especially in these brown and black countries where you go, and it's worse in the truly tourist islands. You're right. Now Jamaica's gotten a lot better, and I know you've been there, but I've lived there, and I've been there also, not as a tourist. No, I'm not throwing shade at that, but I've been there because my dad lives there, and I went to live for a summer and then another month here and there and visit for 2 weeks. Aunts, uncles, cousins, great uncles, all kinds of people. My late great uncle was a very famous judge there and a lawyer, and I think he was in the Supreme Court at one point of Jamaica. Yes, there are Supreme Courts outside of ours. But living there and seeing the poverty, wow, and seeing the whole, the barefoot kids, and being very time for some caffeine. I'm gonna have some I need to get a sponsor. Brought to you by Sambazon, acai, and caffeine. But Jamaica, my dad also, my dearly departed parents, both of them were wonderful human beings, but my dad worked for a thing called Mustard Seed, and they would get homeless, abandoned, orphaned children in Jamaica, including in the garbage dump. Yes, they would go regularly, I think daily, that someone would go and do a little patrol on the garbage dump, or they stayed in touch with the garbage people, because I mean, how low is your situation when you take your baby and just put them in the dump, in the garbage. But that would happen on a regular enough basis that they saved a number of children. So my dad did that. That's the kind of compassionate. Both my parents, in their different ways, incredible human beings. And so, the idea of compassion and kindness, certainly they passed that to me, and I learned it from other places too. Both of my parents were, I'd say, pescatarian. The last decade or even 2 decades for my dad of their lives, which is a beautiful thing to have them see me do this thing at age 18 or 19 and be like, okay, and be supportive of it. Live with my mother at that time for a little while longer, and really beautiful to have immediate support. But then as the years went by, to have them go, let me check this out. And as they got older, so 24 years older than me. So let's see. So when I'm 18, holy shit. Makes you feel old when you do this, right? We've all done this. Let's see. Dad was this age, or mom was that age when I was. But so they would have been, oh man, that's some crushing shit. So they were only 43 when I was 19. Damn, son. Anyway, but you jump up a few years. So in their late 40s, started having cholesterol problems, high blood pressure, onset of diabetes. And it was cool, and I'll always be thankful for this because I'm sure I got extra years from them. I was able to help them both change their diet and do a lot of things without drugs, and really, really some beautiful stuff. But my point there is that in Jamaica, yeah, you're right, Christopher, some rough poverty. That said, from the time I started going to Jamaica, which is 40 years ago at this point, over 40 years, wow, tons of improvements, tons. In terms of access to healthcare, access to education, they've relaxed a lot of the drug laws so that people can not be thrown in jail for bullshit for a little bit of weed, which was a big problem in Jamaica all through 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s. 1/3 of Bob Marley's songs are about the police and the brutal situation for poor people and anyone caught with a joint. So yeah, a couple things there. Let's see. Let me flash back over to YouTube. Okay, good. Everyone's quiet on YouTube. No one usually asks questions on Twitch. And once or twice on my Twitter feed, you see some people. But all right, well, let's I'm sorry, my guests. It's looking like I'll have them next week, but they've had a rough time. I'm so happy they've been through a lot, this past day or two, it looks like. But I'm going to try to get them next week. Let's see. What am I looking for here? Okay. All right, great. Well, I'm going to turn it over to y'all in terms of if you got some topics. I've got a couple quick kind of news item type things, stuff that's happening with vegan food, which I can't even keep up. It's really cool how fast things are happening. But moving right along to oh yeah, you know what? Let me give some promised links here. Let's give you a couple links. So first off, I'm going to put the Vegan Yaad website, the actual. I love to have a website, and I was going to give them props on that because so many companies and so many artists and musicians and stuff just don't have a website, and they have. I've got my Facebook. Don't give fucking Facebook. Spend some money, get a damn website. It's unprofessional. Messing around on Facebook, climbing through ads and trying to figure out, what. No. Be a professional. So oh, it's expensive, dude, then you're in the wrong thing. I'm sorry. If you're gigging and you don't have a couple bucks, which is all it takes, because there are free hosting sites. There's really inexpensive hosting. There's hosting that is free, but they put an ad on there. You're just being lazy. So anyway, anyway, there we have the website of the Vegan Yaad. So please check them out. Please, if you're in Florida or something like that, support them. Where is my other? Then the other thing I want to show you and give you the link of is the Insta, which again you can find it, but I like to drop them here because sometimes people watch these later on. Their Insta is where they are mostly, it seems, and anyone is really, right. You know, you kind of, that's kind of the everyday action. But wanted to just take a quick look at that because it's mouthwatering. All I've had today, by the way, I've been trying to have shakes every day. Again, I mean, I used to, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, was my daily jam when I was a lot healthier. I'm trying to pull the health around, folks. Just got to lose the pandemic beer belly, and get back on my bike. Okay, so here's the mouth-watering. Let's see. Actually, they got some video. Let me pull some audio in here. Okay, Chrome audio is on. See if y'all can hear this, because they always do some fun. Oh, you know what? Actually, let me go back here. Let me do some technology and get you some audio. Let's see if we can have. All right, there I am. So there we go. There we have a little video on their. I see Buffalo Brown likes it. Just savory food, folks. Here's a little thing of how they're making some ingredients. Look at that, beautiful, vibrant plants. Is that what you call it? Lion's mane mushroom. It looks like cauliflower, but what the hell is that? Looks good. Man, I need to go to Jamaica. We were talking before about how we have not gone on vacation in a decade. We're poor. I don't like to make light of actual poor people who are living in their tent, but we're on a budget, and so vacations aren't really in the cards. But gotta fix that, man. You only live once, and just gotta save up and go on a trip, sit on a beach. God, we live in North Carolina, so there's a beach, and so we went to the beach in eastern North Carolina about 4 or 5 years ago. It was beautiful. Time to do that again. But Jamaica, though, man, oh man, look at this food. It's making me.
Everything around me, cream, get the money, dollar bill, yo.
I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job. At second.
Yeah, all looks good. So there's a real kind of Mexico meets Jamaica vibe on a few of the things. And it's very fusion food, of course. We got all kinds of stuff. But I love that there's this beautiful blend of stuff. This is the young woman. This is the wife of Kirk, the guy who.
What up, you guys? So we got a new item on the menu. Jerk vegan pilotes. Yummy, cheesy, all at the same time. I'm good. I'm good. I'm on the menu.
I mean, come on. You need that. I forget this young lady's name. But so she's from Haiti and her husband's from Jamaica. And when they met, she was vegan and he was a chef and, you know, did some vegetable dishes, but very slowly as they, you know, developed it developed into a relationship, and he was very influenced by the way she lived and ate. He told me the story, which he's going to tell on the air when we have him. And he said, you know what, let me just keep, and he kept evolving his food thing to 100% vegan. So
yes, I'm going to come down with us. Vegan Yaad kitchen. Yes, I'm going to come down with us. Vegan Yaad kitchen. Yes, I'm going to come down with us. Vegan Yaad kitchen.
this is great. And you know, I didn't realize, but that's obviously their slogan. That you know, it's so good you swallow. So that's great. They're going for it, man. Just risky. Let's see.
Deliciousness. Come on, stop playing with them. Stop imagining.
Fantastic, beautiful Caribbean people. All kinds of people were there when I got some food. Oh, this is
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's the Vegan Yaad kitchen. Yo, what up, people? What's going on? Lich? We had the lich. Prep cook. It's supposed to be prep cooking.
This is the jerk chick rolls.
Mess my video. Just mess my video.
This is the roll.
What you working on, DJ?
Preparation rolls.
I'm big the cabbage, some salad.
Garlic.
Y'all look like y'all cold.
It is cold out here, so come and get some warm vegan food. Jamaican, Caribbean vegan food. It's gonna warm you up, warm your soul. Say warm your soul.
Yeah, come chill, come chill. The fat armor is ready. The fat armor is ready. That's it. Come chill, people. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's the Vegan Yaad kitchen. Yo, what up, people? What's going on? Lich? We had the lich. Prep cook. It's supposed to be prep cooking.
This is the jerk chick rolls.
Mess my video. Just mess my video.
This is the roll.
What you working on, DJ?
Preparation rolls.
I'm big the cabbage, some salad.
Scotland.
Y'all look like y'all cold.
It is cold out here, so come and get some warm vegan food. Jamaican, Caribbean vegan food. It's gonna warm you up, warm your soul. Say warm your soul.
Yeah, come chill. The fat armor is ready. That's it.
That is great. The excitement, the vibe, the joy that they have. It's like a party. And I have to say, I'm going to show the food court. Well, it's like a food. Man, I'm losing context on how huge. I'm going to say a warehouse. Like a big food market that you have in many cities. This huge place with all kinds of food. Not all vegetarian, of course. There was barbecue, pork and stuff like that. One guy had sausages, one guy had this, that. There was produce stands, there was people with sandwiches of all types. But, and this blew me away, and I'm going to try to pull some pictures up. The stunning amount that was vegetarian. I'm going to say, I think it got to 20 places. Yeah. It was really amazing to see, and all of them busy, all of them with people sitting at the counter or picking up some food or something. Really great. Anyway, I mean, look at this, right? Every picture is more tasty than the one before. Let's see what this is.
It's really very simple, actually. Food is my love language. If you want to show me how much you love me, bring me food. And to show you how much I love you, I will eat the food that you brought for me. It's really very simple.
That's so cool. Oh, these fritters look good. I'm down with
dirty
fritters.
Bitch! Look what you've done to my peonies!
They're marigolds!
Good God, I think she's right. They are marigolds. I may not know my flowers, but I know a bitch when I see one.
I love that. I love they're not politically correct at all. The beautiful thing about waffles, you can make waffles out of anything, right? Anything that forms into really anything. I've seen some crazy waffle videos on Insta and stuff, but beautiful for something plant-based that you can kind of mash up into a paste. So it could be chickpeas, could be palm hearts, could be any manner of beans or grain or sweet potato mixed with quinoa or whatever you want, and you get that texture, that kind of batter type texture. Put some spices, spice it up as it's made. Put it in a waffle maker. Boom! You get that waffle shape. So I just love the creativity of these chefs around the world, and man, if I didn't have a music career, this is what I'd be doing, folks. I'd be back with where I spent almost 20 years in food, in natural food, and where I've spent 40 years, just informally. I mean, 20 years formally, but I love it. Just celebrating life. And this will piss someone off, but we should steal this phrase. Choose life. Choose live food. Eat more raw food. And choose the life of animals in your diet. Why not? And look, I know there's a million pushbacks to that, but the name of my show is just try it one day a week. Just think about the life of animals. Just one day. I mean, come on. It's not that hard in 2023. It's actually unbelievably simple. But again, if you just contribute, it's like throwing a dollar in a cup as you walk by a musician or a homeless person or something. That little bit adds up. It really does. And if each of us that don't already eat plant-based said, you know what, I'm setting aside every Monday or every Saturday. It's called Meatless Monday, but if you are, I know some Catholic people where Fridays, it's a special way to eat. You eat differently, or maybe it's fish only, or There's all kinds of variations on religious stuff. Jewish people who I know some Jewish people who, for them, the faith includes non-cruelty to animals, to all beings. And so you have different, and then you have some Jewish people who only part of their week or part of their year where they say, well, we're going to abstain from flesh. All of it's beautiful. Same thing. Hindu people, Christian people of the different stripes of Christianity, Islamic people, you know, whatever it is, Shinto, you know, all of the great religions, and I put quotes around that, great as in size and length of history, all the great religions have somewhere in there varying degrees of compassion towards animals. It's very interesting. There's a guy with a book, Rin Berry wrote a book where he pulled together all of the different religions and where they talk about being kind to animals. So, all right, couple more, just a couple more of these. Here's Kirk making some delicious, man, look how good that is. Jamaican spiced up beans.
Welcome to D Vegan Yaad.
Oh yeah!
Welcome to D Vegan Yaad. Welcome to D Vegan Yaad. Welcome to D Vegan Yaad. Welcome to D Vegan Yaad.
Yeah, that's good. I was I was transfixed by that because I was trying to pick out the different ingredients. You got scallions and red beans and some kind of green vegetable, but my man has a whole Scotch bonnet in there / habanero, as we know in the States. Oh my God, that's my kind of cooking. When you're going to put a whole habanero in there, that means you also got one probably cut up in there. But anyway, so folks, I will leave the website, the thing. What's the? Oh wait, there was a. Oh man, I wanted to see if I can. If I can go to the. Oh, there it is. I wanted to show you one more thing. The farmers market. Again, for those of you in Florida or going down to Fort Lauderdale anytime, here it is, the YG Farmers Market. This was really cool. Yellow green, that's what it stands for. And as I said, it's this big, amazing farmers market. Produce, you can see there's plants and, you know, honey and herbs, and weed is legal there. So look at that shit. They got some tinctures and, well, that's beyond weed. That's like mushroom, mushroom tinctures. They get wild in some of these states where mushrooms are kind of semi-legal. But you got the picture. Just a really cool, fun place with all kinds of cuisines. There you go. That gives you a shot in the middle of just, you know, people having a good day out. Good to be back out as COVID and stuff has subsided to a manageable level. Still with us. I have, let's see, in the last 2 months, because I know that's when I started thinking about it again. Oh, yeah, February, March, I know 4 people with COVID. And I read about others. So it's still here, but of course it's absolutely single digits percentage what it used to be. But really cool market. If you're ever down in that area and look at that. Yep, and like I said, there's meat, there's flesh. But you can see flags of all kinds of countries. I just saw Jamaica and was that Dominican Republic? So there you go. Just to give a flavor of the background of where this place is. Look at that hair. She wins, man. That is badass. Okay, so they got even, they have some exercise stuff. Good stuff. Man, getting hungry. So there we have it. And I'll put that link. I know there's a couple people listening from Florida. But wherever you are, hopefully you got some farm market action going on as well. There we go. So there you got a couple links there. Let's see. Well, folks, obviously, as you can see, my guests are not going to be here today. I'm just responding to them, telling them all the best, and we try to do this next week. But hey, we're having a good time. We're gonna be here just a little bit longer. Try to be off by 5 Eastern, but let's keep having some fun. RFK Jr. Well, I'm just going back through again. I just don't have the time. I'm so busy right now. I'm in pre-production for a tour. As I look around, I'm like, oh, I got to get back to that. I got to get back to that. I'm doing a lot of programming and hardware, software, doing a lot of stuff that I can't get into details right now. But just lost this tour this week for celebrating David Bowie, but out on tour extensively with the one and only Pat Metheny later this year. And check his website, check the tickets. We're all around the USA, parts of Europe, and I'm waiting to see if we're going to some other continents. But that's kind of my everyday thing right now, though. Get some sunshine, do some yard work like we did today, try to increasingly get some exercise, quiet time, read a book, sit outside, have a coffee in the sun, just trying to take care of myself and make lemonade out of lemons now that I lost 5 fucking weeks of salary. But, you roll with it, man. We're survivors. And we're the survivors. Dun, dun, dun. The black survivors. Bum, 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 right? We're the survivors. Jank, chicka, jank, chicka, jank. The black survivors. I can't put the regular song on because YouTube will flag this. But Bob Marley. Survival. And there's survivors of every race, of course. Someone just got offended. What about me? So you're surviving and you find ways out of the shit. But I'm happy that I have a lot of work to focus on. Work sets you free, which is not politically correct at all. But it's a great quote. That's the dissonance about it. It does make sense. But I thank you all for like a chance to do something live on the air like this. And I'm just learning it is Make Weird Music's 9th birthday. Wow. Let's see. Y'all know Make Weird Music because I do a lot of things with that. 9 years, 2014. So, all right, we're jumping all around. We're going to wrap up with a couple more things, all about plant-based explosion around the world. Let's go to some of your questions, though. Hey, what did you have for lunch today? I'm going to go cook some greens. We got some greens in our CSA 2 days ago. So I'm going to get on those. Got some kale, some broccoli rabe, or is it collards and kale? Going to cook some greens. I had a really good shake earlier. Like I said, I'm trying to get back into just some blended foods. So I've been doing these shakes with just a little bit of fruit, a little bit of water, a banana, and whatever frozen fruit I have as I get rid of it that's been in the freezer forever. I had some frozen mangoes, some blueberries the other day, some mixed berries I had a bag of. And I got this really cool, clean protein stuff. It was on sale at Whole Foods, actually, which I hardly go, but once in a blue moon, you just don't have to in this town. And they had a bunch of new shakes, and I was like, trying some different ones, trying to find a really cool one. I love how many choices you have. Wow, pea protein, hemp protein, stuff with quinoa, stuff with soy protein's there, but that used to be the only thing you can get, right? 40, 50 years ago, and certainly 30 years ago, almost exclusively. About 30 years ago, we started seeing rice protein a lot. You had rice with the starch removed, so you had rice protein. That became very popular. And then hemp protein started coming in. But I just love that there's these combinations of spirulina and, all these really good proteins, and they keep discovering new ones. There's a grass that grows on the coastline of but many parts of planet Earth. There's a specific grass. I can't remember the name now. And they've discovered that the little tiny seeds that it has are incredibly high in protein and omega fatty acids and stuff. So we have that on the horizon. We have a whole sustainable, plant-based, green, chlorophyll-based food source that we're going to screw up and sell for too much money at Whole Foods. So there we go. End of story. But no, seriously, really great that there's all these options. And I got this stuff that's 20 grams of protein in a scoop. And I forget, I think it's pea protein and some other protein. But that's been great. Just having a quick fruit/protein shake. So that was my lunch. Cup of coffee, some of that. Now some too much sugar, probably with some acai, Amazon Energy, acai berry. Just, I get these once in a while. I love acai. I love acai bowls. So let's see. Let's see. All right, we are definitely pushing our guests ahead. Or I said that, but just being definitive here. Back to your questions and points. Christopher Lowry says, is sugar a regular ingredient in Jamaican jerk rubs? I've seen it in some of them, but not a problem, just not a problem. Sugar, I should do a whole thing about specific ingredients. Salt, I was talking to someone about the other day, sodium, and how we obsess about sodium, when really the problem isn't so much sodium as potassium. If you remember your high school biology, and you go back to things like very simple first couple chapters of biology, and you start talking about fluid exchange on a cellular level, human cells, let's talk about for a minute, and you talk about the ionic exchange of fluids going in and out through the cell wall. Remember all that stuff? Potassium and sodium are kind of these two balancing forces that have a lot to do with the fluids going in and out of cells. And generally the American diet is very low in potassium, horrible in potassium, because it's green leafy vegetables, it's squashes and sweet potatoes and bananas, and we do eat bananas. That's probably the only thing. But all the root vegetables we should be eating, the dark greens, not lettuce, not spinach, the dark leafy greens, and all kinds of other things like spirulina, mushrooms, all kinds of things. We're just not having enough of them. But we're off the chart on sodium. So my point, though, is sugar, go ask a Jamaican. Sure, they're using sugar, which is usually right from Jamaica, so it's fresher, closer, usually much lower processed. Sometimes they're, sugarcane refinery of varying levels. A lot of times in Jamaica, you got the sugarcane and you put it right in the thing, and you get sugarcane juice that you drink. A lot of people use the sweetener that they can make right out of that. So there might be a little bit in there, but it's absolutely inconsequential in the background of a diet, a general diet. Like, let's say the average Ital kind of Rastafarian, people with food stands and stuff. Is that what we're talking about? They're eating so much raw, fresh fruit, greens that are steamed, different types of escarole and spinach, and they're in that family, bok choy, kalaloo. They're eating so many mineral-rich foods. The amount of root vegetables in the typical Jamaican, it's mind-blowing in the typical Jamaican diet. The purple potatoes and the yellow ones and the white ones and the cassavas of different types and colors. So they're soaking in minerals, which is the other half. Just like I said, sodium, potassium, people should study it and look at how they can actually help their sodium picture by upping their potassium picture. You got a lot of moving parts. One of the things with Americans is, yep, of course I'm going to frame it that way. You shouldn't be watching the show if you don't know that. Because Americans are a trip. We take everything and take it to the extreme. So, but Americans are always looking for the single bullet, the one thing. I need a pill for that one thing. It'll solve everything. I'm saying this as someone almost 20 years in natural foods retail, where one of the thematic things you get every single day is somebody looking for that pill that will do like 6 things for them. My skin's messed up. My digestion's messed up. I can't sleep. And I'm getting tired halfway through work. Do you have a pill? I heard there's this stuff. And so I'm not sure why we've perfected that more than everyone else. Sure, there's people, other parts of the world that do that. But we own that. And so we're always looking for this one thing. Must be sodium. It's the one thing. Instead of expanding our view and saying, well, where does sodium sit in the chemical picture of how my body works? We live in a time where you could actually educate yourself. You can look at scientists. You can look at doctors, nutritionists. You can hear from 10 sides about nutrition. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nutritionist. I'm a former natural foods professional who had access to a lot of these people. I never give medical advice or tell people, you should do this. But I hope I generally encourage a sense of inquisitiveness, a sense of, hey, this is an amazing time we live in where you can study science right from scientists. And if you prefer, also witch doctors and kind of combine the two. But you can seriously, I think any intelligent person can gather a few different sources of information, make them conflicting sources so you get a little balance. I mean, right? I mean, if you're watching a video from a nutritionist who works at Kellogg's, obviously there's going to be some bias there. And likewise, if you're, I try to combat this from my personal perspective, but if you're watching something that's from the Vegan Society of America, there's going to be some bias there, quite possibly on both sides. But the point is to check it all out and sift through. And so, thanks for reminding me about a single ingredient thing, Christopher, because it reminds me of the word holistic and whole, and how we really should be looking at that whole diet. And eat some sugar. Sugar's not a problem. White refined sugar, domino sugar at 30, 50, 100 grams a day, and drinking soda every day. Yes, that's a problem. High fructose corn syrup, all that. I'm on board with that. But to not a problem to have something with sugar as an ingredient or salt as an ingredient or whatever, X amount of fat or something. Okay, cool. You sent me something on water filters. Cool. I'll check that out. But I'm sure there are sugar-free Jamaican jerk rubs. Absolutely sure of that. And I think I've got some powdered jerk stuff, and I've bought bottles of the kind of wet stuff, and that's usually doesn't have sugar in it. Or if it does, you don't taste it. It's just there to cut maybe acidity. So, and Norris, how are you, my friend? Thanks for stopping by. Okay. Oh, cool. This is what I love to hear. What did y'all eat today? And that sounds great. An Impossible Burger with fries and fruit water. Boom. Simple, fast, available everywhere now. Protein. Comfort food, familiar, right? We all grew up having a good burger. I love that comfort food aspect of food is so easy. Scott, my dear buddy, how are you? You had an everything bagel. Oh, nice. With chickpea tuna with tomato. Bro. Yeah, bro. That sounds great. Let's see. You had a coconut water. Yes. Right. Thanks for reminding me. Coconut water, tons of potassium. And again, you go to the islands, they're not thinking about sodium. Again, the natural cooks and natural leaning people on these islands, because they're eating things like coconut and root vegetables all day long. So you're right, coconut water. I haven't had that in ages. Gotta buy some coconut water. Johnny Luca, what's up, my friend? Where are you, bro? I let's see. Are you out on Talking Heads still? The Remain in Light, I mean. Shout to me. Yeah, how's the vegetarian backstage food on that tour? I know. Tell us in the comments and remind me. You're pescatarian, I think, right? You're vegetarian plus fish, or vegan plus fish. I love it. I love anyone that is chipping away at the everyday 3 meals a day thing of that we're trapped in. Let's see. Someone trying to message me. Okay, yep. Talk to you later. I know it's a happy birthday day, but we'll come back to you. Okay, cool. All right, folks, I'm gonna wrap in about 5 minutes, but it's been rubbery, and I just gonna look at my YouTube, see if anyone has jumped on there. No, okay, cool. So sorry I couldn't deliver our guest today, but it reminds us of you don't know. You don't know anything until it happens that day. So we hope and we pray for things to happen, including waking up every day. I don't actually pray, but it's a great colloquial term. Let's see. So all right, I'm wrapping up and want to hear a couple more of your wishes and comments. So many topics, folks. I write them down and then I write them down in these index cards. Sometimes I don't put them here. But one thing I do remember, maybe we'll spend a little time with this. There's a this exploding thing too of lab grown meats, like where they're using cells of animal and then fermenting and doing a chemical process to grow the cells, in a substrate of some sort that it's pulling nutrients, and then at the end of the process you have a lump of chicken flesh, beef or pork or pig or any kind of flesh. Interesting stuff. And I'm not eating it, but I'm really happy if that's going to cut back on the slaughterhouses and stuff. Let's see. I'm getting some messages here. Oh yeah, okay. All right. All right. People are messaging me. I would say Christopher Larry, this is sending me Jamaican. Yeah, which I said, yeah, there's sugar in there and awesome. Sugar tastes good. Yeah, that I'm unfazed by that. Because it's just the tiniest amount, and it's mostly the spices and the hot stuff, Rich Gregory, see you in April. Will you? Where's April? Oh, right, you didn't hear me. I said it a little while ago. That it was going to be the St. George Theater with Celebrating Dave Bowie. Ain't happening, bro. That tour just got postponed to the fall, and now I can't do it. So I'm so sorry. Yeah, that was going to be cool, man. See you in your near your home area. Yeah, it's a drag. All right, Scott Mulder has provided a little interesting tidbit here. Here's an interesting news bit, which is in the chat. The link is there. The meat industry has blocked the see if I can reposition my screen a little bit. Blocked the IPCC's, what's that? Some kind of climate committee attempt to recommend a plant-based diet. How about that? These rat bastards. Okay, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which some conspiracy theorists is going to say is the Rothschilds anyway. That's why we can't get anything done. These insane people that just every burp is the Rothschilds or the, the Bilderbergers or the globalists or just, we're fucking doomed, man. And you know what? I'm going to just keep providing the soundtrack. I really don't care. What a stupid bunch of monkeys this branch has been. And anyway, so here we have the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. They have a report, and somewhere in there they're recommending hey, you got to go more plant-based, which we've talked about here for 3 years. Interesting that Brazil and Argentina, with large influential beef industries, is trying to change the wording. That's disappointing because I was just in Brazil and Argentina, and there's an explosion of plant-based food. So I hope their people locally push back hard on this. Even some of the Brazil animal slaughter companies are having more and more plant-based options. I mean, we've talked about that on this show. There's a big New York Times article from a few years ago talking about the massive shift in Brazil and to a lesser extent Argentina. But at the end of the day, still the overwhelming money is for slaughtering cows, for feeding them, for cutting down the rainforest, growing soybeans and wheat, and mostly soybeans, feeding them that as a food source, getting very little protein return, and slaughtering millions of beautiful, incredible, sentient, pain-feeling cows. This is where someone tries to tell me that broccoli feels pain, but it's just exhausting. 40 years of hearing that as I celebrate 40 years of doing this. Anyway, well, this is sad. I'm going to read this later, but I'm giving you all a little preview of it. Please read it. Scott has kindly put the link in there. The other thing is we have decades and decades of science. Every report confirms over and over and over again, from government agencies, from independent agencies, from educational facilities, from colleges, from whether it's Oxford or the University of Melbourne, or I can't even keep track of the places I've read these reports all around the world. We test and test and we test, and there it is. The emissions of the animal slaughter industrial complex is astounding and dwarves the others. Dwarves, can you say that? Dwarves the other stuff. And yeah, I talk about it on the show all the time. This doesn't mean let's fly blueberries in the middle of the winter from Peru. No, we got to look at all kinds of things on the environment. Just look at number 2, dark chocolate. There's a lot of problems with chocolate. I've taken chocolate way out of my diet. I eat it once in a while, but once you start reading about the slavery chocolate and the child labor chocolate, and when I do, we try to get organic, fair trade and try to get it from a reputable company. But chocolate's problematic. Now, that's obviously the raw material dark chocolate. So that's your Nestle's and your Mars M&M and the big companies who buy most chocolate from Africa, Central America, South America, Asia. But anyway, you have beef, then dark chocolate, lamb and mutton, beef for dairy. Then there's coffee. Yeah, I always read about coffee. It's a massive crop, worldwide morning ritual. Did not know that prawns would be that high. But prawns are doing a lot of coastal damage that is very, very talked about, et cetera, et cetera. So you can see it goes down the line. And interesting enough, look at that. As it goes down the line of kind of carbon costs to the earth, look at what you see as the numbers get smaller and smaller. It becomes a preponderance of the kind of foods we're talking about. So let's see. So Norway watering down the wording about the urgency. That actually surprises me. Not much surprises me. But the Norwegians have been exemplary and leading in a lot of these green laws, recycling laws, packaging laws. I was in Norway last August. There are 5 euro cents, I guess. Do they have the euro? I forget. It's all a blur. Whatever their money is marks or something. Whatever their money is, 5 of them for a little plastic water bottle. You have a deposit on a plastic water bottle. Wow. We only have 8 or 10 states in the U.S. that have a 5-cent deposit, 10-cent deposit on glass and cans. And our soda industry, beer industry, bottling industry for decades spends gazillions to make sure there's not deposit laws across the country. What hateful pricks they are, right? We could be keeping glass and aluminum out of the waste stream, but they won't do it. But that's sad to hear that a country that does do that, even for water, and has incredible green attributes, Norway. Man, I was amazed at the level of green kind of stuff they have and the level of support for plant food. But at the end of the day, these countries, all of them, are run by the banks, by the neoliberal kind of industrialized construct. They're run by an investor kind of focused economy. So it sucks. So we keep fighting forward. So there you go. Thanks to that article, Scott. Check that out, folks. Let's see. Come back and let's see. Bum, 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 da, da, da. And oh, Rich, I know. I'm sorry. Just bought tickets. That breaks my heart because, yeah, we'll talk about it sometime. But not happy about that. But it's finally been announced that it's postponed, and the good news is your tickets will be fully honored in September, October, whenever the dates are. The dates are up on the website. Just go to celebratingdavidbowie.com. They just put the new dates up. So you can take a look, and if it works for you, then you're on. If it doesn't, you will get a full refund. They do have a refund. I don't know the refund details. I think in some places they rip you off on your little fee, but that's the theater usually. And stuff. But I hope not, bro. I hope you can just go. But it's sad that I won't see you there. Well, all right, folks. This brings me to the end of my sojourn with y'all on a Monday. I'm gonna jump and go make some food. And go make some plant-based food, and keep trying to understand the madness. We got to keep doing whatever we can to in this world and in this country and the things we have so little control over. I'll close by reminding y'all that it's one of the few things you have control over. In just about every society on earth, every functional society, you make choices. You decide, I want to eat this, I want to eat that, I want to consume this, I want to consume that, I want to take drugs, I want to consume alcohol, I want to, of course, in countries that have alcohol, I mean, we make these choices. What we put into our body, what we put on our body, what kind of lotion. Which I need some right now, but you make these choices, and this is such a big one because 3 times a day or so. Some people like 5 smaller meals, some people like 2 meals, whatever. But it's really astounding how much power you have. The power to vote with your dollar, the power to just get better quality food, the power to buy local, go to a farm market, power to buy certain things organic, which keeps building the demand for that organic thing. And I just love that I've seen this grow and change in the 40 years that I've been vegetarian. I should try to figure out the exact date, but I was between 18 and 19, which is right about now, 1983 to 1984. and there's no one date because you gradually get into it. I remember, gradually, like, oh my God, do you hear what they do to cows and pigs? I stopped eating beef and pork immediately. Like when I read this book called A Higher Taste by the Sri Chinmoy people, the Hare Krishna people, was one angle that I got some striking info. But I still ate chicken and fish, and then a few months later or whatever, you start reading more and more about that. Then I read a book called Animal Liberation by Peter Singer, which is still one of the seminal textbooks on this. Not textbook, but like a nonfiction. And that blew me away. Like, and my point though is that it reinforced to me, and I had a bunch of other info sources coming in. Gary Null. Some of you might know this guy. This guy's named Gary Null, Null. Who, unfortunately, in this last couple decades of his life, is known as like an anti-vaxxer and a conspiracy theorist, and it's a bummer. Again, someone probably just got offended. Here's the thing with all that stuff. And Gary Null is a super important human being in my life. I'll never condemn him outright, but though I'm concerned about some of the ways things went. But brilliant guy. I think he's got a nutrition degree. He's got a couple of degrees. Brilliant investigator and all kinds of things. And I guess this is the one thing I'll say also, besides just take your power back and start realizing how much power you have with choosing your foods and stuff. But one of the things with Gary Null and with different conspiracy theorists, I'm 58 years old, and I started listening to talk radio like at age 13, I think it was, 1978. A guy named Mark Simone, who incidentally turned out to be like this right-wing crank today or decades ago, but he was cool and harmless on ABC, or no, some of the radio in New York. But I loved radio. I loved talk radio. So I went right into listening to talk radio in the 80s. I probably listened to Rush Limbaugh the first week he was on, Sean Hannity when he was only on New York radio. I heard all these guys because I just loved radio. But my point is, throughout all that, listening to all kinds of conspiracies and Art Bell, late night, all this stuff. At 58, I personally look back and you go, okay, well, I heard some of these things that were absolutely going to happen, and all the way up to 5G, everything's going to collapse, all the bees are going to die, and I look back now at, since I've been paying attention, 45 years of the sky is falling, and never mind that kind of stuff, right? Jesus is coming back, April 12th, absolutely. Then he doesn't. Well, it's June, we're sure. Like this whole thing that humans do, and a million conspiracy theorists, right? About different ingredients, and this is going to kill you, and then cell phones, we're all going to have brain cancer. I'm not saying cell phones are awesome to put next to your phone. It's a high focusing device that's pulling radio waves out of the sky. Are they radio? Yeah, they're technically radio. It's a frequency of electromagnetic radiation. Where's radio? Where's cell phones? 2-3 gigahertz. I'm ignorant on this. I plead the fifth. I forget, but someone can help me. But it's high frequency electromagnetic radiation. I'm not a fan of it being next to my head. But we were told everyone's gonna die, and so I this is the problem I have, that 45 years now as I ponder this, and here's my punchline, that the conspiracy people, whether it's the Waco, Texas people, or the wacky left-wing people with some shit they believe, or all of them, both sides, you rarely hear me say that, but both sides have this poison thing going on. There's never a moment where they go, hey, was totally wrong about that one. That email I sent you and I badgered you about some fucking bullshit that's going to happen. Here we are, 20 years later, it never happened. And I was wrong. And I believed some bullshit, and that's my ultimate problem with anti-science, conspiracy theory. just all of it is that I don't even know if anyone's listening who has those views. I hope not. But if there are, I'm talking to you, and none of y'all ever circle back around and say, "Hey, I was wrong. Yeah, yeah, it's decades later, and that crap I talked about didn't happen," or it's even a year or 2 or 3 or 5 later, and these guarantees of doom and gloom. Having said that, I don't trust what Pfizer or J&J's tell me to put in my body. Don't get that mixed up. You know that, anyone who knows me. But it's about striking that balance and choosing your food as close as you can to the source, to reality, to raw and uncooked and natural and organic and local. You always want those things. If you can grow some food, wow, bonus. Many people can't. But if you can grow a few things, So, all right, that's my closing monologue. Thank you so much for being here. Where's my goodbye button? See you next week. I hope. And maybe I won't be on the sun.